Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Kreft's Couch Pod. And today we're going to talk a little bit about visibility, being seen, and hiding. And there's a lot there to unpack. So before we jump in, let's take care of a little housekeeping. I want to remind folks that Activate, my brand new tier of the Courage to Choose membership, is now open. So it's our inaugural month, September. We're going to have a program called Get Seen on Social. It was Consciously You on social, but I got that didn't really energetically capture what I was going for. And so it changed, it evolved. How does it get better than that? So that's our first month program. Now, the membership is for the budding entrepreneur who is looking to either A, start a business or has started one and maybe you're really struggling to make sales, show up on social media, just really that basic foundational stuff. Because let's be real, entrepreneurship is one big facilitation journey. Holy cow. I thought I had done the work, so to speak, and then I became an entrepreneur and there was so much more to work through. So I get how potent it can be as an entrepreneur to be in these spaces and containers with other entrepreneurs because the support is huge. I mean, it's really a lonely journey. So having the support and others really getting what you're going through and constantly remaining activated. This is why I called it Activate, because it can be really easy to disengage when you're the boss, so to speak, right? There's no one you have to answer to but you. I mean, depending on your business model at this point. So I was looking at what does it take to remain engaged and activated in your business so you continue to move it forward with where you want to go. So the membership is a 6-month commitment. So you have to commit to at least 6 months. And that's for a good reason. I really like the idea, and I would say borrowed this from the therapy days of having to continue to show up for yourself, right? It can be really easy to flee a situation when either A, we're going into some resistance, or B, we kind of feel like, oh, we got it all handled. Now it's time to go, right? And yet we're just about to hit another huge, I wouldn't say breaking point, but uncovering or unfolding of the next iteration of you. And so in therapy, we would call this a flight into health, which is really just kind of like, okay, I've done a couple sessions. I'm good. I feel good. I can move on. Everything's changed. And really, it tends to be an avoidance. And so I'm really getting how much kind of rooting in, keeping your feet to the fire can create so much change. So this is why there's a 6-month commitment, because during that time, stuff will come up for you, right? You might want to escape and leave. Yet, if you are committed to this, what would it create to continue to choose for you, to show up for you? So that is the reason behind that. So basically, each month is going to be a different program. And the first month, as I mentioned, is Get Seen on Social, and we're going to talk all about the energetics of visibility and a little bit about what I'm going to talk about today and really what it takes to stop hiding. October, what's happening on October? Ooh, that one's going to be let your biz tell you what to do. I hear all the time that people are like saying to me, how do I know what to choose? I don't know what to choose next. And guess what? You don't have to decide. Did you know you can commune with your business energy and let it guide you? And so I'm going to teach you all about that. The cool thing about Activate is it also includes everything in the entry level of my Courage to Choose membership, which is basically a live Q&A each month, as well as masterclasses each month. Now, the Courage to Choose, kind of entry level is all my foundational information on mindset and wellness. So really the key things an entrepreneur needs, all that foundational stuff. So Activate is really specifically geared towards the entrepreneur because we're going to take that information and courage to choose and take it to the next level and Activate and really be specific towards what you go through on a day-to-day basis. And the cool thing is, once you join Activate, you get access to all of the previous Courage to Choose content. So all the previous pre-recorded videos I did, Q&As, and all the previous masterclasses, Outcreate the Noise, Leading Through Vulnerability, etc. Now, the difference with Activate is, although the doors will be open each month at the beginning of the month for folks to join the new program, there won't be access to the previous Activate programs. Those are actually going to be sold separately, a la carte at a higher price. So if a program pings you, I would encourage you to join because this price is crazy right now. I'm doing an inaugural price of $555 a month, which is insane for how much you get. So I foresee this membership growing to be likely double that price. So as my folks know who joined Courage to Choose at the inaugural price, they have been grandfathered in and will continue to receive that price for as long as they stay with the membership. So again, if it pings you, ask yourself, is this the expansive choice that's calling me? What will this create for me to choose this, right? And a lot of our choices in entrepreneurship are really scare-sighting, so to speak. And so there's something about choosing business containers that kind of help you practice making those scare-sighting choices. Because I get every day showing up for my business, there are new choices to make, and starting to expose yourself to choosing things that have you just a little outside your comfort zone can be really great to start to expand the flexibility of your nervous system. Right? Maybe you've heard it before, or maybe you're not familiar, but a lot of business models are geared towards taking advantage of when people are in a really kind of almost dysregulated state, right? And kind of this extreme FOMO. Now, that's obviously not so helpful for us. Yet the opposite isn't helpful either, to just kind of be in this, comfort zone place. So we really want to be choosing from a place that just has us a little bit kind of outside the comfort zone, yet a place where we can still regulate enough. And I get where this is going to be, kind of part of our conversation today with the visibility. So that's really where you want to choose from. And wow, I just got so much with how this can be such a, financial conversation that we can talk about at another episode, because it's really, right, how much this brings up all the money stuff too, and feeling comfortable. And it's like, do I have that amount? Am I holding on too tightly? Or it's like, I'm spending too much. Or, are we some end of the spectrum, right? So, you always know, will this create greater for me? Yes or no? And if the energy whoosh expands into possibilities, then you know that's the choice. You might not know the how, you might not know how everything's going to show up, but that is the choice. And that is a skill that you also need to use for your business, right? Because it's like, no one can tell you the how. Everyone has a totally different how in how they've created their business, and you have to create your own how. And so it's like I always tell people, walking on a dark path with a flashlight, you only see a little bit in front of you, and your next step or next choice will illuminate what else is possible. So if you got that whoosh expanding feeling, I would love to have you in. So let's talk a little bit about kind of this visibility thing and kind of what the vibe is going to be with this get seen on social. So like, what is this? What the heck am I talking about? So with regards to visibility, I'm talking about, what does it take to be seen as you on social? Not what you think you should say, not what you think you should do, not the right reel, not the perfect trend. What does it take to be you? And that's where I initially got it as like, okay, consciously you, being you, like what is that? And I got that it was a little bit sharper than that, the energy. Hence the get seen. What does it take to be seen truly as you? Vulnerable, authentic, genuine, whatever, the you you're seeking to expose. Because that is going to be the easiest to sustain. If you're going into extreme performative measures to be something you are not, then that's going to be exhausting, right? And draining. So when I look back to kind of my visibility journey, I can see where it's definitely taken some time. If you've listened to previous episodes, you know I've talked about how I was pretty robotic in earlier videos. And if I go back even further than that, I wasn't ready to show up on video when I first started social. Now, this was like pre-TikTok days, pre-Reel days. And I felt more comfortable, with the kind of picture or infographic, right? That felt a little bit easier to choose. Well, then TikTok came into the scene and I thought, well, I'm a pretty succinct person. I love that these are, really short 15, 30-second videos where I can just drop, some education and be good. And so that was where my visibility journey started to really expand because I only had maybe a time, this is like January 2020, I only had maybe a couple thousand followers on IG, and I had been on IG since 2018. And TikTok at that time had some pretty intense reach. I mean, it still does. However, for, us newbies on there, it happened fast where videos could get like 10,000 views, 30,000 views, 1 million views very easily, right? For like simple things. And although that was exciting, reinforcing with the dopamine hits, it also came with a lot of people that didn't like your stuff or didn't agree with it or had lots of interesting points of view. The haters, you know what I mean? And there were definitely times where, I just went into a ball from pretty extreme projections of what I should say, should choose, to the point that it would stop me from posting for a period. And I get where the more we are seen, the more we expose us, the more we have to be willing to receive. Willing to receive energy that is projected back to us. Now, I want to also bring in the kind of idea of trauma with this because the closest response I can put with this visibility thing is a freeze response. Because what happens when you go to, let's say, post content, or maybe you've been thinking about posting content? What happens? Maybe you get all these ideas. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, that's cool. Okay, that sounds cool. Oh, I could choose that. And then it's like, well, what are people going to say? What are my parents going to say? What are my friends going to think? And all that stuff. And then you go into the paralyzation mode, the freeze response, and you don't post, right? And so the freeze is like a protection mechanism from, like stopping you from having to be seen, right? And receive whatever is projected at you. And so this is where we really want to get like as a pragmatic tool that, okay, this is happening. What can I do to regulate my nervous system in this moment, right? This is where being able to have a flexible nervous system that's able to withstand these things is really important, right? Kind of earlier how I was talking about the scarce sighting choice. It's like I'm envisioning a circle that's getting a little wider and a little wider and a little wider, right? It's similar with your nervous system. You are able to tolerate more and more. Now, if you've been on a healing journey, then you know that, kind of similar to emotional regulation, now maybe the way you think about things or when you hear other people go into judgment, perhaps it's less triggering or you're more in a neutral space about it, right? And so it's like you're able to kind of expand that window of tolerance of other things that normally maybe would have totally dysregulated you. So this similar idea is applicable to business, right? It's like as you start to post on social media, there will be these periods where you'll grow and then maybe pause and then grow and pause and grow and pause. And the pause I get is kind of this integration period or the time for you to be able to kind of get comfortable with the level of expansion you're experiencing, right? Because if you were to just expand, that could be really dysregulating on the nervous system. Now, it's interesting because oftentimes especially what I hear on TikTok is, well, virality, I want to go viral. It's like, do you realize what comes with going viral? What comes with having millions of followers? It comes with a heavy dose of projected energies, especially ones where people are wildly misinterpreting you, misunderstanding you, and maybe like duetting all these videos, like doing hate videos of you. So it's like, it can be a lot. That is just so much to tolerate, to hold space for you to continue to show up through. So I get that it's kind of like we grow at a pace that is reflective of what we're comfortable receiving. And I can see that through my own journey where I would kind of I took these huge leaps in 2020, I would say was the bulk of my growth, where I really made kind of 2020 and 2021 of those foundational things, where now it's hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok. And it was a lot. It was a lot. And so I got that I had to get to this place where I couldn't make the judgments true or real, right? They really had to be insignificant. And that's why I always loved Gary Vee's message saying he didn't make the positive comments significant or the negative comments, right? Because if the positive comments have all this weight to them, then the negative comments can hurt you just as badly. So, I'm not saying that I'm totally immune to this, right? There can still be negative comments. It's whatever. And it's I have to use tools actively and be conscious of A, regulating my nervous system, and B, reminding myself that this is a projected judgment, right? And so this is why I'm getting the nervous system is so huge here, because if you're going into a dysregulated state of having more visibility and posting, then likely it's going to stop you from continuing to post. Because the reality is, no matter what you say and what you do, I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times, someone's going to have an opinion about it. Someone's not going to like it. Someone's not going to whatever, And so it's kind of well, might as well choose to say what you want to say, to be you. And I've been really getting that recently where I'm I'm getting that my message is more potent. I'm feeling more potent. And how can I deliver that, with more power online? And when I was workshopping it with my own coach, I was getting how I was still seeking to be a little people-pleasy, a little nicey. I don't want to offend this person, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's not even you. You are direct, you're succinct, right? And you're to the point. And she was like, what would it take for you to expose that on social media? And so that is where I'm at in the journey of, especially as I've made this kind of huge pivot that I'm still in the middle of going from talking about mental health to now kind of this conscious entrepreneurship. And what, kind of really owning that, right? Really stepping into that. I was very comfortable being the psychologist, a mental health expert, if you will. That was very comfortable. And this is a more uncomfortable space to be speaking about something that I'm also navigating, right? I'm relatively new. I'm a year and a half into this entrepreneurial journey, and it's what's pinged me to talk about more. and it's exciting. And I could easily go into like, well, I don't know enough. And I'm not like, I don't have the multi-7-figure business yet. So it's like, what? No. What do I have to talk about right here and right now? Would I allow myself to be visible, to be seen, to be heard, and be to the point of what I want to say? Because no matter where you're at, you have something to teach. Really hear that. You have something to teach, right? You don't need another certification. You don't need more of that. I mean, yes, depending on the situation, right? It's like we don't want to be stepping outside of our scope of practice, of course. And based on your experiences, your lived experiences, you have something to teach. And even if you feel like, oh, my life's not perfect, or it can't be until I'm at this level, or I've made my first 100K, or I'm having, 5, 10K months that I can, teach stuff. It's like, no, what do you know now? And can you speak to the people that are just a couple years behind you, right? That are wanting to create something similar? And would you be willing to expose right where you're at, right? Expose where you're at, expose where things are not always perfect, because that's so normalizing to hear. It's so easy for us to pedestal people and experts and people we think have all the answers, yet they are still figuring out something too. Everyone is. And that can be so great to just I want to say bridge the gap, but not create this huge separation like you can't have that too. So, there's just so much there. And I get that, this kind of get seen on social is really going to go deep. I mean, we are going to talk about, like I said, more about the trauma experience and why that freeze mode is happening, because I want folks to get really clear in how they can work through it and start to expose themselves a little bit more, until it's like you're just posting on social media. I had a client the other day that was like, oh, I'm not like you, or I can't wait to be like you. And I was like, had to step back for a second, because I was thinking the same thing of like other people I see online or my mentors. It's like, oh, I just can't wait to be like them. It's like, and then there's someone saying the same thing about you. So what would it take to just really honor right where you're at, right? Be okay with it. And what would that create? So we will look at this with a microscope in the Get Seen on Social program, and I wonder what it will create for you. Are you needing facilitation, support with showing up online for your business? I mean, because what a gift that we have social media, that this is just free advertising for you, that you can create a personal brand and then create whatever you want, right? You don't have to like start in this one specific spot. You can actually create a personal brand and then sell whatever you want. I mean, how amazing is that? That, pretty much we don't have to work for anyone anymore. You can work for yourself. Wow, this is such a gift. I just love being able to create my own schedule. And, I've been working from home forever, since 2017, but being able to be an entrepreneur just takes it to another level. So if you are really craving the freedom of entrepreneurship, if you're ready to step into that journey, because it is a massive healing, transformational journey, and you're looking for support and facilitation on this social media thing, Get Seen on Social is for you. And I would love to have you in. Until next time.